So, do you think that veganism is like a scam? I've been hearing that a lot from people. Is that it's kind of like a left wing agenda that they're trying to push. Like everybody's gonna be a vegan, and it's like the new diet they want, like the new world order wants to have, and it's gonna make everybody weaker and stuff like that. Do you think that that's true? Or what do you think about that?
I definitely think that veganism is becoming more popular, but I feel like it's not really the real veganism that's promoted as much. I feel like the veganism that the leftists to promote is like the Beyond Meat, you know, eating bugs and those kind of things. I feel like that's more the agenda, that they're pushing. Whereas real veganism is not eating any animal products at all. And they're not eating any meat, nothing like that, and eating like raw plant-based food.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that true veganism would be trying to be as organic as possible and as healthy as possible, and just avoiding processed foods. And I've heard that like Beyond Meat is basically just ultra processed food, so it's like the exact opposite of what a true vegan would want to eat. So obviously that would be the kind of the left wing, kind of the new world order agenda is they're gonna kind of put like all the healthier, more local food places out of business, and then they're gonna replace them with only like McDonald's and big name food places that are gonna start selling this Beyond Meat stuff, and that's gonna be the vegan food.
Yeah, I honestly believe that um, the whole goal of the elites is to make us unhealthy, not as smart, uh, just completely, honestly, dumb and lazy and unable to do things for ourselves and completely reliant on the government. And I think they want us eating processed foods and even animal products. I think humans were made to eat plants and fruits, especially.
Yep. I mean, like if you look at our teeth, for one thing, like it obviously shows that we are frugivores. That we aren't supposed to be eating like meat and stuff. We don't have the teeth for that. We don't have the digestive tract for that either. So really, it's not made for us, and in the first place. And people really kind of don't understand that. People will think like, oh yeah, like like, it's okay to eat meat as long as like the animal it has been treated properly and stuff like that, and they had a good life and everything. And it's like, you know, if you haven't really looked into it at all, you can kind of justify looking into it, like seeing it from that perspective. But like once you start to actually look into why it's better to become a vegan and like, and also like either way, it's still just kind of like no matter how like humane the animal was treated, it's still kind of inhumane to eat animals, in my opinion. It's just not really made for us.
Yeah, well, not just that, but like you said, it's a lot worse for us to eat meat. You know, I mean, meat has been like associated with like cancer and diabetes and heart disease. I mean, so many people today die of heart attacks, and many doctors um, believe it's because, and what their studies show is because of meat. Meat is the one of the main causes of heart disease, and going vegan can actually completely reverse that and can pretty much clean out your system. And I was listening to a video, and these doctors were saying that in the standard U.S. American diet, uh, children by the age of 10 start developing heart disease because of the excessive meat intake.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't doubt that that's true. Because it is true that like heart disease is like the number one killer out there, and once you really study it too, and you do more research on like fasting and all that kind of stuff, you just realize that eating less in general is better for you, and and also eating less dense foods is better. And so, with that in mind, you understand that like meat is like the most dense thing you could eat, and it takes the longest to get out of your system. Like I've heard that it can take up to like 2 weeks for meat to digest properly, like to fully digest. It'll take up to like 2 weeks. So if you eat a chicken sandwich, it could be in your system, like lingering for like 2 weeks. And so what happens is you actually end up getting parasites from this meat too. And if you keep eating meat, you actually want to have parasites because we don't really have the enzymes that like break up meat in our body. We don't, because we're not made to eat meat in the first place. So we don't really have the enzymes in our body to actually break up the meat once it's in our system. And so the parasites that accompany the meat, they actually are what break the meat up for us. And so without the parasites, you actually couldn't even digest meat at all. And so you basically get tons of parasites in your system over time, and you get lingering meat in your system, and all this causes tons of waste and toxins to build up in your whole system, and it clogs things up, and it causes all kinds of problems. So
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think if when you look at an animal, I think most people don't really see a mill. You know, I know for me, I don't see food when I look at an animal. I see an animal, um, and so I think a lot of people, they don't really think about what they're eating when they eat meat. They don't. Obviously, they know like, oh, this was an animal, but I don't really think they understand really that you know what they're really eating. That this is an animal that probably lived a horrible life. Got treated terribly and um, was injected with all kinds of hormones and different things, and then it got killed and didn't really have a life. And then you eat that, and then not only is meat not really good for humans, you get meat that from an animal that was treated poorly, and now you get that negativity in yourself as well. And I believe that also results in things as like anxiety and depression, and that's why society is so negative today, because it's just this whole cycle of consuming negativity, and then we put out negativity.
yeah, exactly. And so you basically just are carrying that negativity with you all the time after you eat meat, and it's like I said, it can stay in your system for a long time. So you have meat in your system for weeks or months if it's overlapping and stuff. So like you have just negativity just constantly lingering around in your system, and these parasites are basically like demons almost that are accompanying the meat you're eating, and you actually need these to be in your system even to get rid of the meat. And so it's just kind of like, when you really learn all this and you understand it, just it seems that there's absolutely no reason to ever eat meat, and it's completely bad for you. Like there's like no good, like no benefit out of it. People think that they get protein from meat and stuff, but I've actually heard that the protein you're getting from meat is actually just the plant protein that the cow or whatever was eating. Like they ate the grains and they got the protein from the grains, and you're basically just getting recycled protein from the cow. And so you actually get more protein if you just eat the plant itself. So it's like you might as well just do that.
It's interesting because before I stopped eating meat, because I haven't eaten meat in like 8 9 months as of right now, and before I stopped eating meat, I was kind of like worried, like, am I gonna lose weight? Am I gonna like, just become unhealthy because I'm not eating meat? And honestly, I can say that I've had no negative things happen to me from not eating meat. In fact, I feel way better about the food I do eat, and I feel way better myself. I can go run. You know, I feel like I can run easily and I can work out easily, and I'm not drained like, oh, I need protein. I'm not eating meat. And I haven't lost any weight either. And so I think it's, I've always been kind of skinny, but I haven't lost any weight, and I feel like I'm just at a good, healthy weight. You know.
Exactly. Like you don't really lose weight, even if you fast often and stuff. You kind of just get to a healthy weight. You kind of just maintain that healthy weight as long as you're being healthy overall, And so, obviously, in some cases, like anorexia stuff, I think that's more of like a mental health thing almost. It's like it's like mentally they're making themselves have this issue, you know. And so obviously if you're just trying to be healthy and you're just trying to go about it in a good positive way, you're going to get positive results. It's kind of like your mind is what really plays the largest part in this. It kind of just really determines what's going to be the outcome, is how your mindset is.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of going back to like the leftist agenda that you were talking about. I think how I was saying earlier how I believe they want to make us unhealthy. I think kind of how they do that is they control both sides, like the right and the left. Because the right, they see the left like going like more to the Beyond Meat stuff and even wanting to eat bugs and saying, oh, we can't eat cows and you can't eat beef anymore. And the right goes like, oh wait, I'm not gonna give up meat because they're against the left. And then the left eat not real vegan. They go Beyond Meat and processed foods and so neither side is really healthy. And I think the true balance is being in the middle and eating plants and not really going right or left, but just looking at diets of what humans are supposed to be eating and eating that.
Exactly. And according to man's star consciousness, the diet we're supposed to be eating is just like fruits, nuts, berries, and seeds. And that's basically the diet that God intended for humans to eat. And I kind of think that in the beginning, like all that stuff was just plentiful. It was everywhere, and I kind of have speculated that that they've probably gone around chopping down fruit trees and stuff everywhere, like, and just replacing them with like trees that don't produce anything, and like male trees that don't reproduce or anything, and so they have basically now all we have is just trees that don't have any fruit or anything edible on them, and they're everywhere. And whereas before we had like fruit trees everywhere, and there was just free food, like free fruit for everybody, and so I think that's just one other part of the conspiracy.